So let's start from complete basics. And if anybody already knows something, no problem. It's only the first class, so we have to take it a little bit slow so that everyone can catch up. Okay. All right. So this is our viewport. I hope everyone is able to use it without much issue. You just need to know navigation. Okay, that's it. Basic UI, that means outliner, channel box, and sometimes attribute editor as well. But basically, you need to know channel box, outliner, and the navigation. Rest I will guide you. Okay, so most of you definitely haven't animated and therefore probably not used this little box here down below. So this is known as the time slider. Okay, I talked about the frames in animation, right? So each of these numbers basically portray a frame. Okay, so if I'm on the 10th number here, it will be known as the 10th frame. Okay, 15th frame, 20th frame, and so on. These are all just frames. You can also think of them as sheets, like papers they used how to, like, of course everyone uses papers, but basically papers that they used to draw onto for the traditional animation. You can think of it as like that as well. Okay, so we can scrub through it. That means we can go back and forth. Then we have this little bar here. This allows us to focus on certain parts of the frames. Okay, you can see 1 and 120 is written here. You can see 1 is written here and 120 is written here. What does this mean? That means currently we have 1 to 120 frames visible. Okay, we can see the end frame here is 120, but total number of frames are 200. Okay, and we can definitely change this at any point as much as we want. Okay, I won't say infinite because I'm sure there must be some limit, but we can definitely go at a really, really high number, thousands of frames. We can easily go in this without any issues. I haven't actually tested the limit of frames, but you can definitely change the number from here. Okay, the point is currently we can see only 1 to 120. Let's say I want to see 150th frame. Okay, how do I do that? There are two ways of doing this. I can actually come over here at 120. I can change this to and type 5 instead and press enter. And now you can see frames through 120 to 150 are visible to me. Okay, now let's say I want to see all the frames. Definitely you can type 200 here and everything will be visible. But apart from that, we can also use the slider, this box. So you can see this square shape here. Click on that and drag your mouse towards the left side, sorry, the right side. And you can see all the frames are visible to you. Okay, and let's say we're animating 300 frames. So we want to change it, right? So I'll type 3 here, press enter. So you can see we definitely got 300 here. This slider changed, but the frames are not visible. Why? Because we have constrained it to 200. Only 200 are visible here. So if you want to see more, we can either change the number or we can just increase the slider. And you can see everything is visible. Okay. We can also go negative. Like I can type minus 30. And you can see we have all these frames visible. Okay. So usually in animation, we don't really use these negative keyframes. These are mostly used for simulations. Okay. So we don't necessarily use it, but we do have the same amount of negative frames as we have the positive frames. Okay, so I'll type 1 here, and yeah, so currently we have 300 frames visible. I hope this much is clear. Let me know if anyone is having any doubt regarding this. Okay, and don't worry, I am recording this, so you can definitely watch and revise. Okay, all right, so let's take any object from here. I will take a sphere. Okay, so I'm going to press W, so the manipulator appears. And I can move it up and down. I can move it side to side. I can move it back and forth. So you can see whenever we move the object, some numbers here change. Okay. So obviously the ones who already know how 3D works understand this, and the complete beginners have already watched 3D modeling videos. I have explained this, but I will explain it again quickly, just in case someone doesn't understand. So basically in 3D, we have these 3 axes. In 2D, we have only X and Y. In 3D, we have Z as well. Okay, so we can select these arrows, move it either up and down, side to side, back and forth. We can also rotate it like this. If I press E, the rotation comes up. I can rotate it in all the angles. Then I can scale it as well in all the axes. If I want to scale uniformly, I will click on this little blue box and click and drag to scale it uniformly. Okay, so the point is, why is this important? Why is this important? Because this is what controls the animation. I'll show you. So anyway, let's say I take the sphere over here at the first frame. Let me reduce the number of frames visible. Okay. Okay. So at the first frame, I've taken the sphere over here. Let's say on frame number 40, I want to move it down here for some reason. Okay. And you can see this play button. So if we go back and hit play, you can see nothing happens. Why? Because even though these values are changing, we haven't actually told Maya to save those values. In order to animate, we have to actually tell Maya that we're animating. We have to tell Maya that this certain pose has to be saved. Okay, this process is known as keying. Okay, so basically if you want to save a certain pose, basically it means keying the pose. Key. Okay, key. And keying, because it's the process of saving those poses. That means making multiple keys, making multiple poses. So this process is known as keying. All right. Why is it called keying? We will discuss this tomorrow in the next class. Okay. It is directly related to 2D animation. All right. So anyway, I hit play and nothing happened. So I haven't asked Maya to remember this pose. So now I want to do exactly that. How do I do it? I press S on the keyboard. As soon as I press S, you can see a red color here appears on the time slider and red appears over here in the channel box. Okay. You can see it is written keyed on frame. Okay. So these are keyed. That means Maya remembers these. All right. So now if I go forward on the 50th frame and I move this, okay, and I go back to the first frame and I hit play, you will see nothing happened. Why is that? Because I asked Maya to save only one pose. That means only one pose has been keyed. In order to animate something, you need to have at least two poses, right? So one pose is this one. Let's go back to the 40th frame and I'll move this. And again, remember, how do we tell Maya to save a pose? We press S. You can see everything is red. Now if you go back to the first frame and hit play, you can see it is being animated. It is moving from one point to the other point. All right, so this is basically how we actually animate. Okay. So I hope everyone understands the concept of keys. Okay, the concept of saving a pose. Anybody having any doubt? Okay, all right, cool. So so this much is clear. Now the thing is, it is a little bit annoying that whenever we move a certain object, we always have to ask Maya to remember it. It's a bit annoying, right? So we have something known as auto key toggle. Okay, I'll show that. But first of all, let's see how to delete a key. Okay, you can also call it as keyframe. All right. So I want to delete this keyframe. I can do that by right clicking and hitting delete. When I did that, you can see the sphere went back to its original position over here. Okay. So we have to turn on the auto keyframe toggle, and we do that by coming down here. You can see this little gear icon with a man running. Just right beside it, you have to press this. Click on that. When it's on, it will be red. Okay. So it is on. Now, if I go to any frame and I move the sphere, you can see it is being animated. We don't have to press S. Okay. All right. Of course, animation is same in all the softwares. Everything is actually same. It's just a matter of tools, nothing else. Okay. The concept and everything remains same. So you can see I have moved it from one point to the other point. All right. So it is being animated. But have a look at this. Previously, when I pressed S, everything had red color. Right now, only the translate XYZ has the red color. Why is that? That's because I only translated this ball. Okay. So it only recorded that. Let's say I rotate it also in this frame. Now you can see we got the red color. We got the red color on rotation as well. Now if I go to the first frame and hit play, you can see it is translating and rotating. Okay. Now again, scale has no key. That's because we haven't changed the scale. So if I change the scale, now you can see even that is being animated. All right. Now this is something which is very important when you're working with auto keyframe toggle. Okay. Let's say you bring the ball down here on 30th frame. Okay. It's just translating it down. That's all that you want. Now for some reason, you have decided to translate plus rotate it on the 50th frame. Okay. So if I go on the 50th frame, I first translate the ball, then I rotate the ball. Okay. I have done both. Now let's go back to the first frame and hit play. See something weird? Remember that on first frame and 30th frame, we only wanted translation. We didn't want rotation. Okay, on 50th frame, we actually wanted rotation. But see what is happening. It is translating and it is rotating also here. I don't want that, right? This shouldn't happen. It is happening because at 30th frame, we only save the translation through auto keyframe toggle. Okay, if you want to lock the translation plus rotation on this particular frame, then you have to press S on the keyboard in order to do that. Let me show you. So I will delete this frame. So now we're back to where we were. Only translation is happening. Okay. So the thing is, I have decided to rotate this ball forward. Okay. On the 50th frame, I want the translation plus rotation. Till 30th, I don't want that. How do I make sure of it? I press S on the keyboard. When I do that, everything gets a key. So now everything is logged over here. Now if I go to the 50th frame, I move it, I rotate it. And if I go back and hit play, you can see rotation only happens after 30th frame. It doesn't happen from 1 to 30. See, no rotation, only translation. Previously, what was happening? It was translating and rotating. Why? Because on 30th frame, we hadn't keyed everything. Okay. So this is something that we have to remember if we want to do both translation and rotation. Don't worry. It seems a little bit weird right now, but all of this will get clear as soon as you start practicing. Okay. Because in our field, if you learn something by watching, it's not enough. You have to practice it. So for all the new ones, please test this out so you'll understand the difference. Okay. So I will delete all the keys. You can see on the first frame also everything is gone because I deleted it. Nothing is visible. All right. So let me delete this and I'll import a file. Okay. So you can see I have 4 spheres on the viewport. Yes, Shreyas, we can copy and paste it. I will show all of that later on. Don't worry. Okay. So you can see there are 4 spheres over here. I will be animating them. So I will select all of these. Okay. And I will animate them together. You can see they are placed at the same line. Okay. I'm going to press S to key this. And then I'll go to the 20th frame and I'll move them forward. Okay. And I will press S again just to lock everything. So now if I hit play, we can see the animation. By the way, if you want to go back to the first frame, we have this button here. Click on that and you'll instantly go back to the first frame. So I can just click on that and I go back to the first frame instead of manually going it from here. Okay. All right. So it is starting at the same point and it is stopping at the same point. It is traveling exactly the same way. All right. So we'll discuss about something. Let me show you this. 1 second. Okay. So you can see this. This might have like you people might have remembered school from this because this is a time and distance graph. This is covered in 8th class and 10th class also, maybe a little bit earlier than that. I don't remember. Don't worry, you don't have to. Obviously, you don't have to memorize this in any way. I just drawn this to show something. Okay. So I will draw curves on these graphs and then we'll talk about it. All right. Hello, is it visible now? Okay. So yeah, so you can see all these different graphs. All right. So this is a distance and time graph. Okay. The curve that we create here allows us to understand the speed of the particular object. Okay, so I'll just draw a few curves and then we'll talk about it. Because it's important to understand this as you'll be using it a lot in animation. This is supposed to go straight. Just consider this as a straight line. I'm drawing with a mouse. All right, so you can see we have 3 different types of curves. All right, so I should have written time here and distance here, but that's okay. I will correct this. This is actually supposed to be the time. All right. And this is the distance. So distance can be in meters and the time can be in seconds. So see this curve here, it's completely flat. And then it goes steep. What does this tell us? You can see at 1 second, the distance an object traveled is around 0.8 maybe because it is not exactly coming at 1. It is 0.8, okay, at 1 second. Then at 2 also, it is same. What does this tell us? That the particular object is not moving. Because however much the time passes by, the distance is not increasing. So the object is not actually moving. That's why the distance is not increasing. All right. Now, let's see what happens at the 3rd second. If I draw a line here and draw it across here, you can see we get around 1.5 maybe. Now you can see the distance has changed. Time has increased and the distance has changed. What does this tell us? That the object has started to move. Okay. Because the distance is obviously changing. Now what happens on the 4th frame? It goes even higher. It goes to 3. And let's say if this was going above like this, let's consider we have 5th second here as well. This would be around 5.4 something. So you can see how slowly the distance is increasing. Here you can see it increased a little bit, then it increased even more. So basically what happens, like if you see any car, first of all, it is always on rest. You start it, then it slowly moves, and then it slowly accelerates. It gains the speed, right? So this is what this graph shows. It shows acceleration from the rest. It's very important because we'll be making similar things in animation. Okay. Now look at the second one. You can see on the 1st second, the speed is around maybe 1.7. Then at 2, the speed is around 3.1. Then at 3, the speed didn't increase as much as the distance is only 4. And then at 4th, you can see it has slowed down further. How can I tell that? I can tell that because the distance is decreasing. Time is increasing, but the distance is decreasing. Okay. And let's say if this was extended flat like this, if I draw the 5th second here, you can see again it will come down to that. So it has reached a certain distance and it has stopped. So what does this show? This shows deceleration. An object started with a good speed and then it slowed down and then completely stopped. So this is deceleration. Okay. Is everyone able to understand? Don't worry, this is not physics. It will get fun, but right now, this is something we should understand. Okay. Now look at this one. This is straight. Okay, this is also known as a linear curve. It's a complete straight line. That means if you go at any point, you will see the same amount of increase. So you can see at every second, the object is increasing 1 meter in speed. So this is a constant speed. When you maintain a particular speed, this is how your graph would be like. Okay. And now we have this one. This is again very common. This is something you will always see in Maya or any 3D software. You can see in the beginning, the curve is a little bit flat. Towards the end also, it is flat. This tells us that the object is, slow here and here. But after 1 second, you can see it increases the speed slowly. Then it increases more and it remains constant. It remains constant in between. Look at this. This is a straight graph just like this. So in this area, it stays constant. And then after that, it slows down again and stops. Okay. So again, this is slowing in and then slowing out. All right. Now we'll see this in Maya. Let's see that. So I will be opening something known as a graph editor. It looks a little bit intimidating at first, but it's not. Okay, it's very simple. You just have to take one thing at a time. And yeah, it will be simple. So I'll go to Windows, Animation Editors, Graph Editors. So now you can see the graph. It's the same time distance graph. This horizontal axis is for time and this vertical axis is for distance. This distance is in Maya's distance value. Okay. You can see when I clicked, some colored curves appear. You can see this one is similar to this one. This one. Okay. So when you animate something in Maya, usually we see this kind of a curve. Okay. Okay, before I talk about all of these things, I want to tell you all about certain settings in Maya. Many of you might have never animated anything. So, like if you animate something and you hit play, it will be so quick and you won't understand why that's happening. That's happening because the animation is set to play every frame. I'll tell you about it. So we have to go to this gear icon, click on that. So the playback here might be set to play every frame. If it is set to this, when you animate something and hit play, it will be extremely fast. Play every frame is actually there for simulations. Okay. So for animation, we don't want this because it runs everything really fast. So it has to be at 24 FPS into 1. So this is one setting you have to change. And then you have to go to animation. Before you start animating, set it to weighted tangents and auto span. Okay, we'll talk about what these things are. I don't want to get too technical right now. We've already been very technical till now, so I don't want to talk more technical stuff. So just do this before you start animation. Okay. Do this and hit save and your settings will be saved. Next time, also if you open Maya, the settings will remain same. Okay. Web you will get the recording. I am recording it. Okay, don't worry. I will provide the recording in the WhatsApp group. Don't worry. Okay, so let's come down here. We'll only look at this first one right now. Okay. So you can see this kind of curve. It is starting slow, then increasing speed and then slowing down. Okay. So we will leave this one as it is. We'll come down to the second one. We'll go to translate X. You can see like these translate, rotate and scale options are here just like the channel box. This allows us to work on the individual curve. Okay. Don't worry about all those things. Just go to translate X, the one that you actually animated. We'll talk about all of these things later. Okay, so I'm in translate X. Now the thing is, we have to decide what do we want. Do we want this to start from rest and then accelerate? Or we want this to already be in acceleration and eventually get decelerated, that means stops. So I think I'll start with the first one. I want it to be slow in the beginning, start from rest and then gain speed. So how do I do that? We'll do that by manipulating these curves. Okay, if I click on this key, you can see these tangent handles. These are known as the tangent handles. Okay, if I select one and if I move it, you can see it acts like a seesaw. We don't see anything happening here because we don't have a curve over here. Let's say I put a key on the 10th frame and I select this key. And if I move it, you can see both the sides are getting manipulated. Now, when you're animating, you want to control certain sides. You don't want things to go out of their own way. You want to control them, right? So I will actually delete this keyframe. Okay. What I'll do is I will do something known as breaking the tangent. You see all these little icons? It looks intimidating. Don't worry, it's very simple. We just have to worry about this one right now, which has the letter V. If you hover over it, it says break tangents. So just make sure to select your keys. Automatically the tangents are selected. You click on this and you can see there was a solid line. As soon as I clicked on this, it turned into a dashed line. We can see these little dashes. This tells us that the tangent has been broken. That means If I take this tangent handle and I move it, you can see this other side is not moving. Let me show you in the center. If I put a key here, I break it, and if I move it, you can see only one is moving, the other side is not. If I don't break the tangent, then both the sides move. Okay? Is this clear to everyone? Okay. All right. So we have broken the tangents. Now we just have to create the curve that we did over here. So we wanted to start from rest. So we'll be creating this curve. That means initially we want this curve to be flat and then it should be steeper. Okay. So we obviously do that through these tangent handles. We can go up and down. We can squeeze it in and out. And you can see it becomes steeper or flatter. So I want it to be steep. So I will squeeze this out. Okay. You can see when I'm doing that, the object is moving automatically. Why? Because the curve is manipulating its motion. So if I'm flattening it, the object is actually going back. Why? Because we're slowing its speed. So if I flatten it, the object goes back. So now you can see there is a difference between this and the other spheres. This is moving forward slowly. All right. So that much is clear. Now towards the end, we definitely want it to be faster. So how do we do that? We do that by making the curve steeper. Okay. So I go over here and I straighten this. I made it steep, right? So now you can see, just look at this. It is slow in the beginning and then it is faster towards the end. All right. So is this clear what I did? I basically just recreated this curve. Okay. All right, nice. So everyone understood, that's good. Okay, so now we have done acceleration. Now let's do deceleration. So let's do that to this sphere. I'll come back to translate X. And in this one, we made the curve flatter in the beginning. In this one, since we want to show deceleration, that means it should already have a high speed in the beginning. So we will make the curve steeper or flatter. Tell me. In the beginning, here, would I flatten the curve or would I make it steeper? Can anybody tell me that? Yes, Akshay. Good. Okay, so we want to make it steep. So I have broken the tangent. I will take this tangent handle and I will move it up. So now you can see the speed has increased. This sphere is now going faster. Okay. And of course, towards the end, we want it to slow down. So to slow it down, we want to make the curve flat. We don't want it to be steep anymore. So we do that by squeezing it out, stretching it out basically. So I stretch it out and the curve in this area becomes flat. Okay. So basically, we recreated this curve. And how did that affect our animation? It is fast in the beginning and then it slows down. Look at this one. Fast in the beginning, then slows down. All right. Now let's do the last one. So we haven't seen this this constant speed one. So it is also known as a linear curve. So we don't have to do anything here. Like if you want to do it manually, you can actually break the tangents and you can move it and arrange it to make it straight. But we have a shortcut. We don't have to do this. You just have to select and you see this this line here. It says linear tangents. Click on that and Maya does it for you. So it is now completely straight. That means this sphere will now have a constant speed. So if I hit play, it is having a constant speed. It's neither accelerating nor decelerating. It's just going forward with the same amount of speed. All right. So what did we actually do? Let's understand that. First, we keyed the spheres on the first frame, then we keyed it on the second frame. We moved it. So what is this process known as? This is known as deciding the timing of the animation. We decided that the ball would be at this position on the first frame, then on the 20th frame, it would be in another position. Okay, so it is taking less than 1 second to travel from 1 to 20. All right. Now, the changes we made changes to the motion inside of it, the way it is traveling. Each ball is starting from the same point, landing on the same point, but the way they're traveling is extremely different. Okay, so what did we do here? We changed the motion of travel. What we actually did is known as spacing. Okay, now spacing comes from traditional 2D animation because they would draw the poses and they would arrange the poses in a certain way in order to show where they want the speed to be fast and where they want it to be slow. Let me show you. So I'll take this one and I'll go to the animation menu here. I'll go to visualize and I'll click on ghost selected. All right. So I have turned on ghosting. Now, basically ghosting allows us to see the past and the present poses. So the red ones are the, past and the future poses actually. So the red ones are the future poses. And if I move forward, you can see the past poses. All right. So this is a really good way, to show the spacing. So see, it is starting slow in the beginning. So you can see in the second frame, the ball moves a little bit, then it moves a little bit more, then it moves more. And you can see the poses are increasing, like the distance of the poses are increasing. They are having more space in between. All right. Yes, the rhythm, and it's like onion skin. So you can see how high the spacing is towards the end because we increase the speed too much. All right. So our timing is how we decide how long the object takes to travel from one place to another, and spacing decides how that object will travel. Will it travel slowly, then fast? Will it travel faster, then slow? Or will it travel slow in the beginning, go fast, and then slow down? That's basically what spacing is. Okay. If we see this one, which is linear, if I ghost it, you can see all the poses are equal distanced. You can see they're having equal distances because it's neither decelerating, neither accelerating. I will unghost this one. Let's see this one now. You can see in the beginning poses are so far away, right? But towards the end, the poses are closer together. This shows that it is slowing down. So basically, when you want to show something fast, you will see more spacing in between. That means less poses, or in traditional animation, less drawings. Okay. If you want to see more smoother, slower results, you will see more poses, hence more drawings. All right. So this really helps us to understand this process. Okay. And if we see this last one, this one is our normal motion in animation. This you can call it as easy ease. Okay. So you can see it is easing in the beginning, or slowing in the beginning. Then it gains constant speed in between, and then it again slows down. So you see the distance in the poses. Okay. And I will say it again. The red ones show us the future poses, and the blue one shows us the past poses. All right. So this really helps us to understand um, how the motion is changing. Okay. Is this clear to everyone? Please tell me if you're having any confusion in this. Okay, all right. So we'll keep the class till today here because mostly everybody is completely new to animation. So we will not be going further than this. All right. Tomorrow we'll start with the ball bounce animation.